Okay, the purpose of this video is to explain how to use the Common Formative Assessment or CFA rubric. Okay, so the purpose of this rubric is to judge the quality of the CFAs that you are using, either your team is using or designing. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways that you can gather questions for your CFAs. You can use questions from the textbook or the program that we have as a district. You can use sample questions as a guideline from standardized tests such as the CASP. You can use practice questions that you may have gathered from other resources, or you can write your own questions. But no matter where you get the questions, you want to put them together to create the best quality common formative assessment that you can. And this rubric is designed to help guide your team in doing just that. First of all, to evaluate the quality of the CFA, and then guide you into how to maybe improve it. All right, so here's how you do it. There's instructions right here, but I'm going to walk you through the instructions. So the first thing I'm going to want you to notice is there's 3 columns. There's length and variety of assessment, there's depth of knowledge, and there's purposeful exam structure and progression of questions. I'm going to start with the first column, length and variety of assessments. What you're going to do is first look and notice that there are 3 different sets of color-coded rows. There's the pink rows, the blue rows, and the yellow rows. You're going to read the pink rows first. So look at your assessment and ask yourself, is there less than 1 question per learning target? If that's the case, then click that box. Is there 1 question per learning target? Click that box if that's the case. Is there at least 1 question per learning target, but some targets may have more than 1 question? Click that box. And finally, is there more than 1 question per learning target? Click that box. Now, a rule of thumb is that you should only click 1 box per color-coded set of rows. So for example, if I tried to click these 2 boxes, what that would be saying is there's more than 1 question per learning target, and there's less than 1 question per learning target. That obviously can't be true for both of those, so only 1 can be true. So choose the one that is true. Let's look at the next set of rows for the blue rows in this case. All questions are 1 type. For example, they're all multiple choice. Most questions are 1 type, that is to say more than half. The exam is made up of 2 or more different types of questions, or the exam is made up of a wide variety of question types. If that's the case, let's say we mostly made this up of 2 different question types, then I'll click there. Finally, the yellow rows. The length of the assessment is developmentally inappropriate. It's usually finished in a very short or very long time. Or the typical student will likely finish within a developmentally appropriate time. Or the typical student will likely require the higher limit of developmentally appropriate time in order to complete the exam. Or finally, the typical student will likely finish the exam only if she is answering questions efficiently. This means taking advantage of conceptual as well as procedural understanding. So let's imagine that the typical student will finish in the appropriate time. So I'll click there. Notice now I have 3 boxes checked in this column. What that means is that I have 1 for pink, 1 for blue, and 1 for yellow. Notice that when you do that, then the total score for the column shows down here. I'll do the same thing for the next column called depth of knowledge, but instead of reading each of the descriptors, I'll just choose at random. Not quite random, I'm choosing 1 yellow, 1 blue, and 1 pink. Notice if those were all true, then that would give me a total score of 9. Combined with the 9 from the first column, that's a total of 18. Let's say my next column, purposeful exam structure and progression of questions, let's say that I check these boxes and I have a total of 5 over here. And so now you'll notice that I have a total of 9 boxes checked. That's 3 per column, and the total CFA rubric score is given here. Now to interpret that, I'll look at the score ranges. That's a 23, so it's in the score range between 19 and 24, which means that this is a level 2 CFA. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? Well, level 1 CFAs are those that have the lowest rigor and complexity built into the exam. Level 2 has the next highest level of rigor and complexity, and so forth, until you get to level 4. The question you should be asking yourself is, what level of common formative assessment do you want? The purpose of this rubric is not so that you design all of your CFAs to be level 4. That's not the intent, but rather to ask yourself questions, what's the appropriate level? If all of the CFAs that your team gives to students in the course of a year are all level 1 or level 2, then you might reconsider adding some complexity or rigor to your assessments, because students will not be assessed rigorously enough to prepare them either for the next grade level or for their standardized testing or for their course of studies in middle school and high school. So once again, you're going to want to decide what level of CFA score that you want. You're going to consider adding some rigor and some complexity to your assessments if that's necessary. And the purpose for this is to help prepare students, and also it guides your instruction. I hope this helped. If you have questions, of course, I'm available. Thanks a lot.